Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What's up, everybody? We back for another part of the tutorial series. Thank you for waiting on the delay. I've actually had a lot of things going on. It's summertime. You know, got a lot of activities with my kids. Unfortunately, I had to go to a funeral as well. So a lot of things have actually been happening in my life. But we back again. And on this part of the tutorial series, I actually wanted to go ahead and set up how to get items out of these boxes. And for the first item we're going to make is the coins. So let's go ahead and show this. If I break it, 4 hits, 3, 4, boom, coins pop out. And they all go in random different directions. And whenever we touch one, we get our pop-up display. And it waits for about 4 seconds. Then it goes back away. If I do it again, 1, 2, 3. If I get another one, it doesn't go away. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes away. I didn't time that right. Boom. And what's at the bottom is counting coins. And at the top, I want to do like different things for abilities. I'll explain how I set it up in just a second. So let's go ahead and get this set up. Now, the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to create our own game instance. And the game instance is going to be where we keep our statistics for the player, like coin amount, how much items they have, and etc. So we can pass that information between levels. And I've already created all of this, so we're going to do it again. Blueprint class, instance, game, instance, my game instance. Select, we'll call it my game instance 2, because obviously, like I said, I've already created it. And also, to set our game instance, we're going to need to go to project settings. Let's open it up over here. Let's add it here. We'll go to settings. Oh, excuse me, I'm in settings. Game instance. And we'll change it to my game instance 2. And then we're going to go back and save. And so now we need to open up our game instance, the one we just created. In our game instance, the one thing we're going to need for now is we're going to need for sure our coins. And we're going to need more knowledge to pass between levels. But we're going to start with the coins because that's what we did now. Why did it work? Coins. Name is already in use, but it's not. Coins. Okay, maybe it's because I'm using it on a different instance, but player coins. Let's call it that. Player coins. And what we need to do is we're going to create a custom event. We're going to call it display overlay widget. And we need to do this. Create widget. So before we can do that part, we have to actually create our widget. So let's go ahead and do this in our UI. And I already created all this in a different app software that I use. I created this little D-pad icon and this coin icon. So first we're going to create our widget. We're going to go to UI. Is it UI right here? User interface. Widget blueprint. We're going to call it, user widget. And we're going to call this pickup overlay widget. So let's open this up. And we're going to need a canvas panel. We're going to go ahead and add this to the scene. We're going to need a horizontal box. Wait, no, vertical box first. We need a vertical box. And we're going to need a horizontal box. 2 separate ones. And I use 3 in my vertical box. So 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to need to also add images. We need 1 image here, 1 image here, and actually I'm gonna stop right there for a second. So let's go ahead and change our anchors for I'm gonna rename this one as well so we can keep track of it. Rename this to bottom overlay box. Rename the bigger one to top overlay box. So our anchors, we're gonna go ahead and change this. Boom, we need to move this here, move it here. And for the size of this, we're going to do, for me, 300 and 100. Position, I think it's -150, yes. And we're gonna leave it here because we actually want it to be off screen first. So, all right, we're gonna do this, center this, Boom. Fill this. And our image also, I didn't show. So also, whenever you add your textures, your whatever images you use, you need to right click it and go to sprite actions and then apply paper 2D texture settings. That'll make it transparent. So now let's go back to here. It's our overlay widget. And we need to change our image to our coins. And beside our coins is obviously we need a text to count how much it is. So text. Not there. Right here. Boom. And we're going to center this. Let's do that. Actually, I kind of more so want it here. I will center it for now, just to see how it looks. Center. All right, so we're gonna bind this because we need to obviously get this to the coins. Also, we're gonna add an outline because we do want a small outline. So let's do 2. And let's go back. We're going to bind this, create binding. We're gonna call the binding, rename, get coin bind. So what we need to do is now go to our graph, event graph, and we need to create a display event, a custom event. So we're going to do this. First cast to my game instance 2. Get game instance. Sorry if I sound a little nasally. I'm starting to get sick again. Wrote to variable as my game instance. We're going to rename it to game instance reference. Just that simple. So back here in our get coin bind, we need to then do this. We need to, as our game instance ref, get, then we need to get coins. Get player coins. Then we need to go to text integer, and we need to format our text. We need to add a pin. Actually, we need to just remove this. We need to do that space space. I don't even know what this bracket is called, but whatever this bracket is called, the little squiggly line bracket, and then we're gonna call it coin amount, and then that's that. Oh, I didn't put the right bracket at the end. And this will basically add an input for us to put in what we need to. So to add this dash, space, space, then the coin amount. And if we wanted to add more stuff, we would just do, okay, blah, 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 and then just do this again, such, such, and then you have another input. So boom, we'll just do this, and then we'll add it here. And then that's all set up. So let's wait for a second. And now back in our game instance, we can finally put pickup overlay widget. And our owning player is get player controller. We just need the first player. We don't need both players to have instances of this. That's why we did it in game instance. Because if I'd have did it in our player character, it would have been created twice for each person. All right, and then we're going to do promote that to a variable. Overlay widget ref. Boom, boom, and we'll save. And now this top part, like I was saying, I was going to explain this further. This top part, I kind of took inspiration from another game. I don't know if you ever heard of a game called Spider-Man Friend or Foe. So I was thinking of how I wanted to do this because I was thinking I didn't want there to be, since it's a co-op game, I wanted it to be like a co-op experience. So both players would basically share coins and they would also share pickup items. I didn't want it to be separate items. Also, that'll make the game a little bit more complicated than it has to be. So we're gonna make it to where the players share items and share coins. So it's a full co-op experience. So for now, for our top vertical box or overlay box, We're going to do 100 by 100. That should be fine. And I might make it a little bigger because it was a little small on the other one. Let's do 125 by 125. And this position is negative 125. So for this image, this is just a placeholder. I'll change this out with other stuff when we actually come back. But we'll just do our heart for now. And our draw size for that, we're going to do 20 by 20. We'll do 25. Like I said, it was a little small. Boom, boom in the middle and fill. And now we're going to duplicate this. Duplicate. And like I said, these are just placeholders. Go into this horizontal box. We're duplicate it again. Oh, what is going on? Renaming it. That's fine. Duplicate it again. We'll duplicate it again. Keep renaming it. Duplicate. And this middle one, we're going to change this one to our D-pad. 64 by 64. That's fine. They can stay 64 by 64. Or let's make it a little bit bigger because it looks kind of bad like that. Let's do 70 by 70. It's the width of it. That's what's the problem. Okay, 64. 64. Let's make this a little bit wider. That's why it looks a little scrunched. Back to this. No, it's to this one. Let's make it just a little bit wider. X is, we'll do 150. Negative 75. So it's right in the middle. And then we need to do one more, duplicate, and add it to the bottom. And this is going to be in the center. So that's what that top half looks like. And this is going to, like I said, correspond with our controls. You put left on the D-pad, you'll get this item. Right on the D-pad will give this item. Up will do this, and down will do this. And I might change it, but this is just, placeholder stuff for now. And we'll also make these a little bit closer. We'll make these so they're closer together. And then left, negative 50. I'm changing the padding. A little too close. Negative 25. 25. That's good enough. Boom, boom, boom. So now we got this set up. They start off screen, and now we're going to create an animation for them to come on screen. So we got to go here to animations, and we're going to create a new one. We're going to call this slide in. And we'll add, let's go to bottom overlay box. We'll do plus, and we'll get the transform. So on the transform of this, we'll do the translation. And we need to drop this. And it's the Y. We need to add one on the Y. So at 0.5, we're going to go to, I believe it's 150. No, it's not 150. It's negative 150. There we go, negative 100. And it's going to start on 0. So boom. After that, it goes up. And we need to do the same thing for our top overlay box. So add all name widgets. Where is it at? Top overlay box. Let's get this up and out of here. And we need the transform again for this one. And we need the translation. And at 0.05, this top one needs to go to, I believe, positive 175. Let's go here. Yep, 175. So it goes from there to there. And that's finished. So once you go back to our animation, we hit play. You see it slides in. And we're going to duplicate it. You can play this backwards, but I prefer to just duplicate it. Slide out. And we're going to just reverse these values. So for our Y here, see it's 100. We need to change this Y to negative 100. And this is on the bottom overlay box. We're just swapping the values around. Negative 100, and then change the finish value to 0, so it reverses out. And then for the top one, go down to our translation again. Change this one. Change this value from 175 to 0. And then change our 0 value at the beginning to 175. And boom, that's done. All right, so you can see how that plays out. They both slide right back out. Compile, save that. Now back in our graph, in our event graph, we're gonna do a custom event to call our animations. So custom event, slide in/out function. Now let's go here, go to graph, and we need to do this. We need a branch. We're gonna need a variable as well. Let's say transitioning. Oh, it's animated. Is it animated? Oh wait, no. Let's do rename that. Rename to on screen. There we go. Branch. If it's already on screen, we don't want to call it again and call this animation all over again. So if it's false, we're going to set it to true. And then we're going to play our animation. And we're going to play the slide in animation. Everything else is cool. And then we need to do a retriggerable delay. I did 4 seconds for me. And then if this is true, we'll go here, and I'm going to explain it in a second. I'm going kind of fast. Then we'll duplicate this on screen. Oops. Change it to false. Or actually, let's duplicate this. Duplicate our play animation. Here, the animation will play in and slide out. And then we'll go here. On screen is false. All right, so to explain what just happened, we're going to call this event. We're going to check if it's already on screen, the overlay. If it's not, we're going to set it to true. And we're going to play this animation that's going to come up. Like it's going to slide into place. Then it's going to wait for 4 seconds, but we did retriggerable because if this is called again, like if somebody picks up another coin or some other whatever item we have, if it calls it again and it's true, it's going to trigger the delay to start all the way over because we don't want this to be sliding in multiple times. So once it re-triggers this delay, it's going to start over from 4 seconds. And after 4 seconds is over, it's going to play our animation to transition it off screen. Then we set it back off screen. And that way this is all reset. Boom, boom, boom. Just that easy. And then we need to go back to my game instance. And in our my game instance, we're going to need this now. We're going to add this to viewport. We're going to add our widget to the viewport. And then we're going to do this. Overlay widget, get. And we need to run our slide in out function after we display it to the viewport. And also we're going to need another check. We don't want to create this multiple times. So we're going to add another check. We're going to go here. We're going to get this, get overlay widget, and we're going to convert it to a validated get. So if this is valid, then we don't want to recreate it, and we just want to go straight to doing our function. If it's not valid, I mean, honestly, we could do this. We can remove this. If it's not valid, we need to go through and create it and set it, because that means there's no widget set to this value. Boom, boom, boom. Now that is all set up. So this will work. But now we got to add some functionality to our box.